Hello everybody, this is JD. Now by now I have done enough videos to tell you that JD is different. He's a different path. He stands for something a lot different than what other presidents. I'm not going to stand and give you the spiel that Congress gives you when they want to be elected as congressmen or senators. Because congressmen and senators make the law. What I am and what I'm shooting for and what I'm telling you is if you want your government, including Congress, to serve you instead of you serving the government and including Congress, then you got to choose a different path. Now, I'm not even going to tell any of you to vote for JD. What I'm going to tell you is I got 680 videos on YouTube, running from 2008 up to now. And if you listen to them through the years, through the events that happen, you will see where JD stands. But it's not where I stand that matters. It's what you want out of your federal government. Now understand, we're not talking about your state government. We're not talking about your city government. We're not even talking about a community government. We're talking about the federal government of the United States. How do you want that government and what direction do you want it to go in? If you want it to continue the way it's going, vote change. Go for change. Because that's what you're going to get. Nothing. You get the change of the name of the person. You get the change maybe of the political party. But the truth of the matter is, that's all you get. An individual once said many years ago, and I truly believe what he says, there's not a dime's worth of difference between the major political parties, the Democrat and Republicans. And I agree with that. In my opinion, there is very little difference. Now, for you people who think that being Tea Party is being something, it's not. It's a conservative Republican. You're under the Republican Party. You call yourself Tea Party, but you're the extreme conservatives of the Republican Party. You don't have to take my word. Look at what's going on in Congress. Who's seriously considering about running as a Republican presidential candidate? Rand Paul, Tea Party member. What's the Tea Party a part of? The Republican Party. Now, I've said that from the very beginning. Do you know why? In 2008, when the Tea Party was forming at Norfolk here, they had a big convention at the park over there by the waterside. And I went there. Had my papers, and I was going to do some talking. Maybe they might want to hear what I have to say. Well, no, they really weren't interested. But they had many Republican congressmen and senators there. They had many people from the Republican Party there. So I just, off to the side, started talking, and people gathered around me. Well, the lady who was running this Tea Party, quote unquote, asked the police to have me leave. And they came up and said, you're going to have to leave. I said, is this a public park? They said, yes. I said, is the public allowed to be here? They said, yes. Then I opened up the piece of paper I got from the Federal Election Commission. I handed it to the police officers that I can be here and I can talk. They called up on the radio and got something back. And basically, they turned around to the lady and said, he could be here and talk all he wants. You cannot stop him as long as he's not creating a disturbance. So a little bit later, several people from the Republican Party came and told me that I better leave. And I said, no, I'm not going to. And they said, well, we don't want to hear what you have to say. And I said, no, the Republican Party don't. But a lot of these people here do. And some more people came up with them and told me that I better leave because what they would try to do is create an incident so that the police could kick me out. So I just walked off and said, I'm having nothing to do with the Tea Party because it's just a fancy way of spelling Republican. Now, in Norfolk, that's all the Tea Party is. Virginia Beach is just another version of the conservative Republican. And that's what it is. So, now let's talk some real truth. Besides that, do any of you remember this little flyer? It appeared every once in a while at one of those Obama conventions in 2008. Yeah, that's JD. How about Spirit? Do you remember Spirit? We don't have, on the Constitutionalist Party, we don't have a donkey, an elephant. Maybe a lion would be nice, or a zebra. No, we have Spirit here. Remember Spirit? This is Spirit. Why do I choose Spirit? Because it's an American bald eagle that represents the spirit of our Constitution. If you actually notice it, there's always hope in Spirit's expression. Spirit represents hope. But I'm not here to tell you to vote for me because of Spirit or my flyers that appeared in 2008 all over the place. I'm telling you to listen to what I have to say. If you're tired of the, I don't know what to call it, that we get out of Washington, D.C. And it's not just Obama. Think back. Jimmy Carter, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama. Think. All political party people. They've gone through the political ranks to be president. They went up for that goal. I didn't go out for that goal. I'm here because a promise I made to our country and myself and God. If there ever was a time that there was nobody worth voting for, in my opinion, then I would run for president. And that's what started this, 2008. We had McCain and Obama. Both people I have very, very, very little personal respect for through the years. So, why am I still doing this? Promises. In 2009, though, in 12, I didn't do a lot of campaign. I promised that as long as there was one supporter, I would re-register. And I did. I kept my promise. Right after the election, I was hit by a couple of people who said, we want you to run again. And I did. But I didn't do no real campaigning because there was no beating Obama. There was no way I could, on my own, beat Obama. Now, if you guys want the same old that you've been getting for year upon year upon year, go with the political parties. Look at the people they're suggesting for presidential candidates. Christie, Mitt Romney, Hillary Clinton. I could go on and on. They're all the same problem. They are not designed for leaders of the United States. It's a big difference between a congressman, a senator, a governor, and a leader of the United States of America. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. You just think about it and ask yourself. So if you want to go with the same old, and just get change upon change, which is nothing more than wording, feel free. If you're that incapable of thinking, let someone else tell you who to vote for. Feel free. Let your unions tell you who to vote for. Let your churches tell you who to vote for. Let your job tell you let anybody tell you. But if you're a free-thinking individual that has the courage and the strength to look in a different path, the revolutionary path. Revolutionary, yes. New, I can't say that because it's the exact same path that our forefathers used during the revolution. If you believe in our Constitution as a living document, and if Congress followed it as it is written, they would see that they are a government to serve the people and not the people to serve the government. Then you're going to have to look my way. If you want a different approach to our problems, one that's at your level of understanding, not a political correctness, but straightforward. Not politically designed, but this is it. If you believe in your Constitution, and you believe in the promises the Constitution made to you, and you believe that the first 10 amendments should never be messed with, if you believe in freedom of religion, that you should be able to practice freely in any public space whatsoever, or your churches and synagogues, then you're going to have to look a different path. The Constitution puts it plain and simple. The Supreme Court, Congress, and the President cannot, again I say cannot, interfere with the freely exercise of any established religion. Period. Now, people seem to forget that part, freely exercise. That's very important. Now, if you believe you have those rights, if you believe that women have the right to choose, but people who are strongly against abortions should not have to pay for such actions. In other words, federal taxes should never be used if the people of this nation feel strongly against it. Now, yeah, you're going to get a few people that are saying no, 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 and that's true. They have that right. But the government is to serve the people, not the people serve the government. If the majority of people feel women have rights, yes, but the federal government should not support individual things like abortion, then yes. If you believe that medical insurance needs to be placed under a much stricter regulation, but yet not forced upon everything, upon everybody, then maybe you might agree that Obamacare needs to be changed. Insurance regulation needs to be there. But does a man of 50, 60 years old need to pay for birth control? Does a woman need to pay for colonoscopy? Does a man need to pay for pap smears? In family plan? Yes. But not in individuals. You see, does insurance need regulation? Medical insurance? Definitely. If you believe these differences, if you believe that you And your voice, it should be the only voice your congressmen and senators are listening to. Your senators through the state, your congressmen directly from you. Then you are part of a different path. If you believe that your congressmen and senators should be listening to political parties and other lobbyist groups, then go that way. Because that's the only thing that change gets you. If you believe that congressmen and senators should serve the Republican and Democrat Party in some way or form, then go that way. But don't expect them to listen to you. But if you believe that the Congress and the Senate should be serving you, the people, then you need a different path. These are all the things I'm saying to you. Right now, I need people to get together to form my campaign financial committee, first and foremost, and probably to start forming the campaign committee. But if you people don't want to see JD in 2016, that's fine. Because the truth of the matter is, I cannot lose the 2016 election. Because it's not going to change my life one way or the other. If I win, I'm going to become president. Then I got a lot of work to do. I got to keep my word to each and every one of you. If I lose, hey, I go on my merry way. See? So actually winning is a more negative towards me than losing. But it's a positive towards you with me winning. With me losing, you've lost everything. Now you might say, what is he talking about? Who the heck does he think he is? I'm just an average American. The problem is I have a very strong insight about what's going on, how it's going on. And I do know the general nature of evil within people and governments. A person who thinks that, peace, hand out the olive branch is the way to go. Think of our forefathers when they designed the presidential seal. The seal of the United States. It's got olive branches in one column and it's got arrows in the other. Why? Because it understood the evils of the world. We have the olive branch. You have the choice to accept it. But we also have the arrows. If that's what we must use, we must use. I don't believe in war. I strongly believe in peace. But I much stronger, believe against peace at any price. That's a fancy way of saying slavery, whether you like it or not. Will I apologize for the history of the United States? Never. You show me a country out there that has a better history, maybe they might, but I don't think there's a single one out there. Have we done wrong in our past? Yes. But what I say is, what I do, does it make it right for the suffering of my heritage before me? Same thing for you people out there. The government is to serve us. It doesn't owe us a penny. We are not to serve the government. We are a society in which we should regulate our lives, while Congress makes laws as we regulate Congress. Should not be Congress makes laws to regulate us. Should not be government regulates our life and dictates how we shall live. That's a different path. That's the path of freedom. That's the path of liberty. That is our future. through JD. But you don't have to believe it. You don't have to at all believe anything I'm saying here. You could say JD is full of crap. In that case, you can look at my 600 and almost 700 videos, and you could say, you know, JD actually says the same thing constantly through all those videos. He doesn't change. He's talking about us, we, together. He's talking about how we need to. He's talking about a different path. But above all else, JD wants to be able to tell each and every American at the end of his term, I have now placed the American government, the federal government, in your hands. Do not ever again let any political machine or any other organization, the rich, institutionalized, foreign or domestic, get control of our government that is yours by birthright. And the government shall always serve you if you maintain that control. That's my goal as president. To give you, the people, back your government. To make it work for you. Not a government that dictates how you shall live. To take away the institutionalizing that they're trying to do to the United States federal government. To remove the cancer created by the political parties, the rich, very rich, and the corporations throughout the world. We have to work together, the people. There's no other way. But you have to become active. You have to help. Otherwise, 2016 is going to be just like 2008. And they'll declare JD doesn't really exist. For the past 8 years, JD has been here. You have seen him. You have seen my mascot, Spirit. How many videos do you see this flag behind me? How many people you say I should put some other kind of drop screen? And I say, send me one. No one sends one. People complain about what my dining room looks like. Send a drop screen. They don't do it. People complain about this. They complain about that. I said, okay. People complain about my spelling. I say, okay. I'll be glad to let you read what I write and correct it before. If it wasn't for Microsoft Word, there'd be a lot more spelling errors in there than what you think. So people, I am asking you to help me form a campaign committee. It'd be great to have a campaign manager right now. I'd love to have a campaign manager to give me guidance on what to do. I'd love to have public relations people working with me right now. But I definitely need a campaign finance committee that control the monies from collection. I don't want it for myself. And if I could do it without, I would gladly do it without. But I'm like second president of the United States. Yeah. After George Washington. I don't have the money. I'm not rich. I'm just like you. And I'm not asking for hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars when they start campaigning for me. I'd be happy with $5, $1, $2 from only the people who wrote my name in 2008, JD. That would get us off to a kicking start and get me to travel around the country. And I'd like the guy who fixes up RVs. I'd love for him to do an RV for me. He's on one of the reality programs. I'd love for him to do an RV for me. I don't need a great big bus one because I'm JD. To me, I wouldn't know what to do with a doggone bus one that has more luxury than my house. But something that I could travel around the country and the people would know, and I could meet each and every one of you and talk with you. And you could discuss with me what really bothers you, and I could talk back with you. And even though it may be at the beginning of the campaign, you will have an impression on me, which will cause whatever I do. And you know the greatest thing that could ever happen to me after I win the presidential election? Each and every one of you that could, on January 21st, 2017, get out to the White House in the morning, in front of the White House, and march with me to Congress. We'll have the greatest parade there ever was, the American people. Because that's who I will only represent. I don't care if you're the richest man in the country or the poorest person in the country. I don't care if you're the smartest woman in the country or want a child who's still in school. I don't care. Because each and every one of you are what matters. And I want all of you together. Because that's who I will only represent. In other words, each and every one of you. And I want you to tell me what matters to you, what's important. And know if we must go to war, we're not going to play games. If we must fight an enemy outside the territory of the United States, it's not going to be something they're going to like. It's not going to ever be something like Vietnam. And it's not going to be anything half-baked. I will never promise you no boots on the ground. But I will promise you that if I must put a boot on the ground, it will be such an overwhelming boot that the enemy wished they never saw a boot on the ground. So people, to you I say, I believe in peace. I believe in you. To groups like ISIL and stuff, that you threaten to cover the ground with blood when you meet the Americans on the battlefield or in our country, I say to you, it will be your blood that's on the ground, not the Americans. And we will ensure that it covers the ground. So to the world I say, I believe each and every nation has a right to exist. And it's up to the people within that nation to decide. With threats like ISIL, I say, yes, we'll be there standing alongside you to defend your beliefs, to your lifestyle. But notice I said we will stand alongside you. You disappear, we're gone. You won't see us anywhere near you. We won't waste a red cent. But you stand strong, and we'll stand beside you. You want to run? You want to be weak, and you expect the United States to carry the load? We're not going to spend a red cent. That's the way it's got to be. We will support each and every nation, whether it's South Korea or North Korea, whether it's China or Brazil, whether it's Russia or Ukraine. We will support each nation to have the right to exist. We will not stand for big boys kicking around little boys. And as long as you, the people of your nation, will stand strong and defend your nation and your lifestyle, whether we agree with it or not, we will stand alongside you. We will be the example of what the United States Constitution is to the world. New World Order There's no room for you. And UN, don't mess with our Constitution. It will not change for any reason. It is the Constitution of the people, by the people, for the people. And only the people of the United States has the right to deviate from the original Constitution. And that will only be done by amendments. As far as laws, Congress will make laws to serve the American people, not to dictate to the American people. Both the House and Senate. Senate will start learning to listen to the state, and the House will start learning to listen to the people. Political parties, there is no room in our Congress for such a lobbyist monster. So bottom line, people, this is what I say to you. I need help. We can do the job. I need my finance committee, campaign finance committee. I need the people for it. I will have a list of what I need attached to this video. You have to decide to do the job that needs to be done. Because I, JD, with all the best intentions of the world and a much different path than what's presented, has been presented before you by either political party, cannot do it alone. Though I wished I could. Without you, I am nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. But with you, we can become the greatest nation that ever existed on this planet. Thank you for your time. This is JD. I need these people. I need them now. If I could get a campaign manager, I'd love it. Who really would be hard working at setting up other campaign managers throughout the country. And I need my campaign finance committee to set up for the collections, depositing, distributing of all campaign funds to be done in accordance with the Federal Election Commission. Everything will be done accordingly. For after all, if we can't follow the law, how can we have the law serve us? This is JD. Have a nice day. Remember, my job is to give you your country back and have the federal government serve you, the people. That's what JD's all about. There's other things that are in question, yes. Separation of church and state, I strongly believe. Like one great philosopher said when he held up the coin, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto God what is God's. And I add, and never shall the twain mix. I believe in freedom of religion, freely exercised, and Congress shall make no laws regarding anything religion. And the Supreme Court has no authority when it comes to religion, when it comes to marriage. Union, yes, they can issue a union, but marriage is a religious ceremony, and therefore it's reserved for, by the 10th Amendment, states, local governments, community governments, and the people. Not the federal government, not the president, not Congress, and not the Supreme Court. It's up to each and every state to exercise their authority when it comes to such items. Now, union between two people, yes, the federal government can recognize a union between two people, tax purposes and other privileges from the federal government. But to issue and declare who can and cannot marry as what a marriage is, the federal government has no authority there. Because that interferes with total freedom of religion. And I will not tolerate an interference of freely exercise. So, if you're two people of the same sex, you get a union from the government. If there is a religious organization that willing to marry you, more power to you. I'll stand behind it and defend it. Just like I will stand behind, for example, the Catholic Church, which will refuse. And that's the reason why we are tolerant of all religions. Do you understand? And we need to be. The free exercise of these religions must be permitted. But the federal government cannot interfere or dictate. Have a nice day. This is JD. I am there for you and nobody else. And I do need these committees. I need, above all else, a finance campaign committee that will follow all rules and regulations as set out and set down by the Federal Election Commission. I need your help. And this is a brief summary of what JD is about. You have a nice day. Above all else, remember this. Our federal government is to serve you. You are not to serve the federal government. Thank you. Have a nice day. This is JD.